born is a nation of small farms. And I don't believe that any of those farms were ever connected to a municipal water system. They had wells, or they dug ponds and let them fill up when it rained. Of course, it rains an awful lot in Ireland. It's different from over here.
Here they have arsenic in them, I think, the majority of them, though, right from Desolation Sound right down to, well, right down here on the coast. Gibson is lucky to have that artesian water or whatever it is they have there. I mean, that is good water, and they're so lucky to have that. Because our wells are not good. The water is tainted with arsenic, eh?
Does arsenic, your water your garden with arsenic, which actually we do, is there health effects of it getting absorbed into the plant? Yeah? Yee. All right.
It relates back to the issue we were discussing at the other table, which was about food shortages. And it's the cynic in me or something, but food shortages may actually inspire us to do this. And the fear of food shortages or the fear of oil shortages so that we will not be able to transport food anymore is actually inspiring this kind of discussion and more people to grow their own food. And if you talk to any of the garden shops on the Sunshine Coast, the amount of food plants that people are buying, you could not buy seed potatoes this spring because they were all out, because everybody was wanting to put in a garden. And so it is a new thing, and it's being born of the whole issue of climate change and global warming, and am I going to have enough, and I better convert my lawn to food. And it's happening, not enough, but it is happening.
One of the important things, I think, for getting people interested in producing food on the Sunshine Coast is get it equated to their own health. So that's one thing. If you can get everybody to produce just a little bit of food, then you've taken a small step towards achieving this. And if you can get people interested, you can always improve what you've started. But first off, you've got to get people interested, and by not setting intimidatable or unachievable goals in the beginning is one way to start off on a good course of action.
Greenhouses are one of the major ways we can increase the amount of food production. It's kind of a no-brainer.
On the fact that we don't have nut trees.
Oh, nut trees.
All over the place, along the roadways and everything. When I first came to Vancouver, I found these beautiful trees full of nuts that were chestnuts. So I said, wow, look at that, they grow everywhere. So I grabbed a whole bunch and I brought them home and roasted them up, and they're horse chestnuts. I was very, very, very disappointed. But I've always thought, you know, all those beautiful flowering trees that they have along Vancouver and where we put our trees, they could be nut trees, they could be fruit trees, and we'd have food everywhere. How come we don't do that? We're people, we eat those things.
The small town I grew up in had English walnut trees as a primary shade tree in the town parks, and they were all over. I grew up thinking walnuts and blackberries were free food
for everywhere,
for everybody, everywhere.
Yeah.
The first time I bought walnuts, I was just freaked out.
How much they cost.
I couldn't believe it.
Public landscapes.
Public landscapes.
The provincial government, far be it from me to compliment them too much, but there's this program called Trees for Tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if the regional governments can apply for it, but I don't see why they couldn't be fruit trees for tomorrow. And, you know...
Yes.
I think they're probably stuck on fur trees, not fur animals.
No, but they could be. They could be. They could be fruit trees. They could be nut trees.
And
yeah,
it's a huge, good source of protein. And
yep.
People that own land are sitting on it, and somebody comes along and says, "Oh, can I grow crops in that?" Sure, okay. And wow, you know, I think that's great. I think that's beautiful.
And out of a passionate love for the planet and for my body, and it's a totally different experience when it's actually fun.
Those pictures that are showing up there of the field before and after. I mean, there's vacant land there that people own that don't give a damn about it, and somebody else comes around and borrows that land and makes it look beautiful. And then all of a sudden their property value has just gone up and skyrocketed because, oh, isn't that a beautiful little place? But before, it was just a bunch of garbage in a field.
Yeah.
The longer term vision when you began with involving children is that they've got the enthusiasm or the inspiration to take that forward into their future.
Yeah.
Is that
And
where
expand on that.
where
Yeah.
you're going?
Yeah, it starts off slow and expands. I mean, it's and you got to go to the basic ground rules and go from there.
Community gardening going in at least some of the schools, and particularly around Gibson's. So there is surplus land at the school board, and gardening is an opportunity. We just need funds to do the things that we don't think about because it comes with our houses. You have to have water. You need a limited amount of power, not a lot, but a little bit. You may need, for decent security, you may need to put in some kind of bear fencing, which requires running a little bit of electricity through a wire. It could be solar paneled, exactly. There are lots of little things that would need to be shared that would add up to a bunch of money, but I don't think it's unmanageable.
No, but companies will donate your fencing if it's for a school cause or something. Maybe we have it as a